Welcome to EnfinityCast. When we picture the golden age of piracy, our minds often drift to the Caribbean, to figures like Blackbeard or Calico Jack, men who carved out legends with cannon and cutlass. But today, we're setting our course for a different ocean and a different era, the South China Sea in the early 19th century. Here, the most powerful and successful pirate in history wasn't a man at all. Her name was Cheng I Sao, and she commanded an empire on the waves. To help navigate these incredible historical waters, I'm joined by my co-host, Bryn Sora. Bryn, welcome.
Thanks, Elias. It's a story I love telling because the scale is just staggering. We're not talking about a single ship or a handful of rogue vessels. At the height of her power, Cheng I Sao commanded the Red Flag Fleet, a coalition of pirates numbering over 1,500 ships and an estimated 80,000 pirates. To put that in perspective, that's a larger naval force than many nations, including the United States, had at the time. She didn't just raid ships. She controlled trade routes, taxed coastal communities, and effectively ran a maritime state.
An entire maritime state? So how does a person achieve that level of authority, especially as a woman in such a male-dominated world? Her origin story is quite remarkable, isn't it?
It is. She began life as Shi Yang, a prostitute working in a floating brothel in Canton. Her beauty and sharp intellect caught the eye of a notorious pirate commander, Cheng I. But she didn't just become his prize. The historical accounts suggest she negotiated her marriage to him as a business partnership. She demanded co-command and an equal share of the power and plunder. He agreed, and together they consolidated the warring Cantonese pirate factions into the formidable Red Flag Fleet.
So her agency was there from the very beginning. But the real test came after her husband, Cheng I, died unexpectedly in 1807, just a few years into their partnership. A power vacuum like that could have destroyed the fleet, or at the very least, seen her cast aside.
Exactly. But this is where Cheng I Sao proved she was a master strategist. Before her rivals could make a move, she cultivated a relationship with her late husband's adopted son and second-in-command, a formidable pirate named Cheng I Sao. By forming a political and eventually personal alliance with him, she secured the loyalty of the fleet's strongest commander. She solidified her leadership, not through inheritance, but through cunning diplomacy and a swift consolidation of power.
And with that power, she became more than just a figurehead. She was a true administrator. Talk to us about the code of conduct she implemented. It was famously strict.
Strict is an understatement. It was absolute. All plunder had to be presented for group inspection and registered before being distributed. The fleet got 20%, and the rest went to the individual pirate. Raiding a village that had paid protection money was a capital offense. But most notably, she had stringent rules regarding female captives. Any pirate who assaulted a female captive was immediately put to death. If the sex was consensual, both the pirate and the woman were executed. She created a system of law that was, in its own way, brutally fair and meticulously organized.
This discipline made her fleet nearly invincible. For years, they defeated every attempt by the Qing dynasty government, the Portuguese, and even the British to destroy them. So, how does the story of history's greatest pirate end? In a blaze of cannon fire and glory?
And this is the most incredible part of her story. It ends not with a bang, but with a negotiation. After years of undefeated rule, she recognized the tide was turning. The Chinese government offered a universal amnesty to all pirates who would surrender. So, in 1810, Cheng I Sao, alone and unarmed, walked into the Governor General's office to negotiate the terms of her retirement. She secured a full pardon for herself and the vast majority of her pirates, and, most importantly, she was allowed to keep all the wealth she had accumulated.
Unbelievable. She beat the system and then retired on her own terms. She lived out the rest of her life as a wealthy, legitimate businesswoman running a gambling house until she died peacefully at the age of 69.
She did. It completely subverts the pirate narrative. She didn't die in battle or in prison. She won, and then she retired. A true queen to the very end.
An incredible story of power, strategy, and survival. Thank you for sharing that with us, Bryn. That's all the time we have for today on EnfinityCast. Join us next time as we explore another hidden corner of history.